Hello, everybody. I want to talk to you today on how to help your child be somebody. How to help your child be somebody. And our text is Proverbs 22, verse 6. What else? Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he'll not depart from it. That's assuming, you see, that you have brought him up in that way. He now must leave the way. He won't leave the way, nor will the way leave him. It'll stay within him. You know, Joanne and I have been married 60 years, so I know a little bit about what I'm going to teach you today. I've heard so many husbands say, I married my best friend. I married my best friend. No, you didn't marry your best friend. Your best friend is your dog. If you don't believe that, why, throw your wife and your dog in the trunk of the car, go away for a couple hours, and come back and see which one's glad to see you. You'll know that you didn't marry your best friend. Your dog's your best friend. Your wife is the best thing in your life. And your kids, your children coming along behind you, there's your heritage. There's your future. There's everything that you can become funneled into the next generation. And we all want our children, therefore, to grow up to be somebody in the world. I saw a single sentence in a book one day that just really leaped out at me, grabbed me by the ears and just wouldn't turn me loose. And here's the sentence. Youths who go on to achieve eminence are characterized by four things: high intellectual traits, persistence of motive and effort, confidence in their abilities, and great strength of character. Now, what does this four-part sentence tell us about being somebody? First of all, it seems to slam the door shut in the face of most of us, doesn't it? High intellectual traits. That leaves a lot of us out. I'm hearing you think out loud as I speak today. Right? Wrong. The happy truth of the matter is the opposite. It's something altogether different. The author of this sentence, you see, was studying the members of the Worldwide Hall of Fame. She went on to say that most of them were average, or maybe slightly above average, in their IQ ratings. So genetics had just made them average. She continued to say that 1/3, listen to this now, of the global population, not the U.S. population, not your city's population, but the global population, 1/3, 1 out of 3 of the global population has enough inborn gray matter to achieve the highest greatness that the world can offer. Now, when you stop and analyze, and you think about third world countries, the fact that Islamists, the Islamic states, are 60% illiterate. They cannot read the Koran that they believe for and die for. So in the United States, particularly perhaps in your city, this is more like 50%, 60%, 70%. Don't you understand? So this means that in a church that maybe has 300 youths in it, from the age of 10 to 20, that 2/3 of them could match wits with George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther, Nicholas Copernicus, Oliver Cromwell, Andrew Jackson, and the other great men and women who are in the Worldwide Hall of Fame. Well, if that's the case, and if most of us qualify, what happens to all the stillborn geniuses? Why don't most of us achieve greatness? Why is the Hall of Fame such an exclusive place? Only 89 people in it since its founding in 1899. Well, the lack of intelligence is not the reason. So what is the reason? Well, the second part of the sentence says, persistence of motive and effort. Average intelligence coupled with persistence of motive and effort. There is a key. Someone wisely said, people who achieve are people who work. If you want to leave footprints in the sands of time, someone said, wear work boots. Tears may get you sympathy, but sweat will get you results. Somebody called Teddy Roosevelt a genius one day, and this is in all of his biographies. And he said, no, I'm no genius, he said. I'm an average man, but, he said, I work harder than any average man I've ever met. Wow. So the person who is somebody is not usually a born genius, but he's always a hard worker. Someone said, the height of your accomplishment will equal the depth of your persistence. But what's the secret of persistence? This is the question. The secret of persistence is purpose. Hugh Moran wrote another book on great people called The Makers of America. He wrote this book way back in 1955 when there were only 63 people in the American Hall of Fame. And here's what he said. After his intense study, an excellent book, he said, the development of a dominant purpose seems to be one of the essential requirements of a great life. The development of a dominant purpose. Excellence is not an act, it's a lifestyle. To determine your future, decide your habits, and they will determine your future. Some people work because they're hungry. And so when they get their bellies full, they quit. Other folks work because they've got a family that they love to support. But when they've got enough to do that, they quit. Yet others work because they have an ego to be better than the next guy down the road. And when they accomplish that, they quit. But some folks work because their purpose has been built into them by a higher power, by something greater than themselves. And they never stop working. Everything that they do is striving to be better, striving to be the best that they can be. Because they know that what you do in life, what you earn in life, even what you build in life doesn't matter. It's only what you leave in life that matters. And so they never stop working. So number one, average intelligence will take you to greatness. coupled with persistence of purpose and effort. But the third formula for eminence is this: confidence in your own abilities, self-confidence. I saw a sentence sermon on a church bulletin the other day that grabbed my attention. It says this: success comes in cans, failure comes in can'ts. There's a world of wisdom in a statement like that. The person who starts out saying, I can't do this. He can't. She can't. They're beaten before they begin. It was Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, they conquer who think they can. And I read something on the way to the studio today that says, if you believe you can do it, you've already won 90% of the battle. Something I read the other day piqued my attention too. Here's what it says: if you're going to think, you might as well think big. If you're going to use up the brain power, use it on something worthwhile. Sooner or later, everybody must evaluate himself or herself for what he or she is really worth. There is more in us than we know. If we can be helped to see it for the rest of our lives, we will be willing to settle for nothing less. That statement has meant a great deal to me. And so I have a task. I want to help people see, not pie in the sky out yonder by and by, but the greatness that's inside them now. Because if they can ever catch a glimpse of the greater is he that is in you than he that's in the world, they'll never settle for the status quo. The wise will adopt this sage advice: never overestimate yourself in public report, but never underestimate yourself in private opinion. Nobody likes a braggart, but everybody loves an overcomer. The Christian who has his confidence anchored in God will never overestimate himself in his public report, because he knows he must depend on God. But neither will he ever underestimate himself in his private opinion, because he knows he can depend on God. Finally, ingredient number 4. Now, where have we come? Average intelligence. Most great people are not geniuses. They're people with average intelligence who work and strive hard because they have persistence of purpose. They have a purpose in their lives that makes them persistent, that brings them to greatness. Look at the presidents of the United States. Look at the great generals of our armed services. Look at the great saints of the past. Not geniuses, purposeful people, and then confident people. Not because of who they are, but because who their God is. Now finally, the last one is the key to it all. Here's where the rubber really meets the road. Youths who achieve eminence are not only characterized by average intelligence, persistence of purpose, confidence in their abilities, but by strength of character. The Carnegie Foundation sent out a questionnaire a number of years ago to a group of successful engineers. It had one question on it. One questionnaire. Here's what it says. It said, in determining probable success or failure in your profession, engineering, what factors do you count most important? They got 1,500 replies to come back in. And to everybody's surprise, technical training. Now we're talking about engineers here, technicians, engineers. Technical training was near the bottom. And strength of character got 7 times as many votes. Now, these were engineers. These weren't preachers. These weren't philosophers. These weren't teachers. These were get-it-done engineering people. Well, obviously, this piqued the interest of the Carnegie Group. And so they put a task force on it and did a second questionnaire. And this time they sent this questionnaire to 30,000 engineers around our nation. And they listed 6 qualities. 6 qualities. And they put them in order. Character, judgment. Judgment. Wow. Vitally important. Efficiency. Getting it done. Not a stumble bum. Getting things done. Understanding of people in general. Social awareness and consciousness. Knowledge of life. Knowledge of life. Wisdom. And technical skill. Number 6. The findings blew everybody away. They got thousands of responses. Thousands of responses. The engineers were generous in their response. 94% put character at the top of the list. And 94% put technical skill at the bottom. And the engineers are right. They are spot on. Character is the foundation upon which the edifice of achievement is built. Reputation is precious, but character is priceless. Character, Thomas Jefferson said, is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. And character comes from your relationship with your ultimate concern, to borrow a term from Paul Tillich. Your ultimate concern is your God. Your ultimate concern is that which concerns you ultimately and touches every fabric and fiber of who you are. Character comes from God. The one thing I've noticed in reading the Bible is this: God is far more interested in building my character than my career, my soul than my success, my attitudes than my achievements. In fact, the Bible clearly teaches that if I'll focus my life on building a good character, God will focus on putting me in the right place to use it for His glory. This is the one big fact that stands out in the lives of the men and women in the Hall of Fame of America. The ones Hugh Moran studied. 55 of the 63 described themselves as morally conscientious. You know how many? 55? Come with me. 55 out of 63. 55 of 63 were morally conscientious. That's 87%. 87%. 44 out of 63 said that their faith was the center of their lives. Faith is the center of my life. That is 70%. And then 49 out of 63 said that they prayed regularly. It was an essential part of their daily lives. 77%. And watch this now. Watch this now. In a day when church membership was 7% of the population, 1955, Moran was working on his book right after World War II, 1940s and 50s. Church membership was 7% of the population. 70% of the Hall of Fame were church members and Christians. They named the name of Jesus as the Lord of their lives. Now, I don't know what that says to you, but it says an incredible amount to me. So, Mom and Dad, Grandma and Grandpa, when you sit down with your child, for whom you want only the best, talk to him or her about being somebody, about making his or her mark in the world, making the world a better place because he has tread through it. Here's how you can do it. You can say to him or her, cultivate your intellect with a good education. Stay in school. Don't let anything deter you from staying in school and doing your best in every class. Number 2, discover a dominant purpose for your life, based not on your weaknesses, but on your strengths. So you don't want to do this when you're 10 or 11. You want to take time before you decide the focus of your life, so that you've got more data and more facts. You know more about yourself, and you know more about your capabilities and your environment and your possibility. But then when you focus in on that, be true to that and persevere to accomplish it. I never forget, when I was a young man, and I knew that I was going to be a minister. God had called me to minister. I had opportunities. I had opportunities to go to West Point. I had a congressional letter in my possession. I had opportunities for other things that I could have done. But I had my dominant purpose in my life. And I have persevered over the years to accomplish it. Number 3, have confidence in yourself, not in you as you, but in you as you have your confidence in God. You see, I don't have anything to brag about because I know I've got to depend on Him for everything. But I don't have anything to be ashamed about either, because I know I can depend on him for everything. And he roams the corridors of every nook and cranny of my life, who I am and what I want to be. And then finally, most of all, develop and maintain strength of character. Your character is your responsibility, not God's. Your character is your responsibility, not God's responsibility. Work at it, and God will work at showcasing it for his glory and your success. This is the way you can help your child be somebody in the world. And he can do it, and you can do it with God's help. God bless you. I hope you'll take this word into your heart, and that it'll be a blessing in your life as you deal with those you love the most. In Jesus' name. I'll see you next time.
This has been brought to you by Ron Cottle Ministries. For more information, please call us at 706-256-0100, extension 217, or visit our website, roncottleministries.com.